Well, hi all, Colin Bushell again here, welcoming you to a rather cool winter's evening here in Brisbane. The sun has just set, and that's why I'm here, because tonight I'm going to be doing some night photography, effectively tracing a couple of steps that myself and my colleague Craig take when we do some night safaris. So if you're interested in that, then I will put the details of when the next one is going to be on my Facebook page once we decide when that is. In the meantime, I'm going to wait for it to get a bit darker, and then once it is dark enough, we're going to wander down into the South Bank area here and see what we can do with the night photography side of things. Okay, so as you can see, it's getting a bit dark now, but it's only about 10-15 minutes into this shoot, so the light goes down pretty quick here up in the subtropics. The first little tip here is basically when you do cityscape photography at night, don't lose sight of your composition. Most people get to a point like this. There's already been about 3 or 4 people here who've set their tripods up to get this shot. Now it's great, but you don't want 100 shots of the same thing, so still think about your composition to get that best shot. So here I am right underneath the Victoria Road Bridge. Again, I'm looking for that quirky composition, and I've got the camera set up in portrait mode with that blue line down the side of the bridge. This little quirky street light here in the foreground, and it's a really checkered pavement underneath here as well. So the 3 elements hopefully will give me an interesting composition and not just confuse the issue. There's quite a few bikes and runners going past in front of me, but that won't matter. I'm shooting this at 15 seconds, so everything that's moved slowly or quickly right in front of the camera is not going to be there, invisible people. So I was going to photograph our South Bank wheel, but unfortunately the lights are all off. Obviously a COVID restriction, putting people in a small gondola hanging off a large wheel probably doesn't quite meet the criteria for social distancing, which is a shame for the wheel and for this photo session. But instead I've come up to this walkway over the top of the bus stop off on the bridge, and normally missed this subject. I've taken a picture of it once before, but now seems like a good time to give it another go. So I've come to this place on the bridge, which is one of the starting point generally for our night safaris. It's also a really fantastic spot to get those light trails of the white coming this way and the red going that way. A nice bit of long exposure with the expressway underneath. Cracking shot. So a good tip when you're doing night photography is to keep the ISO down as low as the camera will allow it to go. in low light situations where you're handheld, you want to crank that sensitivity up so you can get faster shutter speeds and bigger exposures. But here we're on a tripod. We're going to have longer exposures, smaller shutter speeds. Therefore, we don't want that noise and grain associated with ISO. We can make up for the lack of light by just having the exposures slightly longer. Okay, so I'm running out of time, but I've got one last shot to take, and this is a bit of a special one because it's a bit of a hidden sort of shot, and again it's a great testament to looking for that extra special shot when you're doing something like cityscapes, because you could put your camera up on a tripod down on the water's edge here and you're going to get a lovely shot across the city from almost any vantage point over this south side of Brisbane. But what you're looking for is something different, something that makes the picture stand out, something that leads the eye in, whether that's a wall or a tree that is hidden behind, just something unique. So have a look at this shot. We've basically found this by looking through a fence. You have to shoot through a locked gate, but those beautiful leading lines and the light of this jetty drawing you to the cityscape behind, I'd like to think you agree that it's a step up from just taking it as a pure cityscape. Let me know what you think. Okay guys, well there you go. It's just a very short little walk around this one particular area of Brisbane, around by the road bridge here. I've come across the bridge to the south bank side of Brisbane, and there are plenty of lovely views here. So more to come as the weather warms up. No doubt we'll be coming back into the city more frequently, and we'll do other side of the city and some other really amazing vistas as well. So that's something to look forward to. A little quick recap on this thing. So again, ISO, keep it down nice and low. Apertures, keep them nice and small, anywhere from the f11 to about f18. All those apertures will work well, and they'll give you slow shutter speeds. So for those moving lights and those long exposures, you can range from about 2 seconds up to about 20 seconds. You're going to get those beautiful light trails and those pin sharp lights of the city in the distance. One other little thing that I need to mention as well when you're doing cityscapes is do not come in on a Saturday or Sunday night. Now, that's not just to do with the fact that there are slightly more drunken people on a Saturday or Sunday night. It's more to do with the fact that the office buildings are very rarely lit up. Okay, now they're not as light as they would be because of the coronavirus stuff, but there's certainly more lights on in those buildings now on a weeknight than there would be on a Saturday or Sunday. So try and schedule your night photography trip into the city on a night other than those two. Okay, and just finally, I have got a night photography safari that's being planned at the moment with my colleague Craig. So if you'd like to come out with us and actually do this and come to these locations and learn a few tips and tricks, then we'd love to have you. I'll put all the details on the Colin Bushell Photography Facebook page in the coming weeks. All right guys, I'm heading home now for a nice hot cup of tea, or maybe even a beer if I'm lucky, and I shall bid you farewell, and you take care of yourselves. I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.